Build reviews are back. Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Ultimatum League 3.14. In this episode, we're doing build reviews. If you guys want your build reviewed for the Path of Exile Ultimatum 3.14 League, or even Standard, I guess, all you have to do is do like these guys. They comment in the comment section below, down below, comment your account name, your character name, and like a nice fat paragraph. Not like this guy. He just says, "Can you do a build review of my Stone Golem Elementalist?" Yeah, sure, man, but like, what do you need help with? You see all these other ones? They got big fat messages. What the? Don't be like this guy. Okay, so yeah, all you have to do, account name, profile name, character name, like which one you want reviewed, and then what you need help with maybe, or like what you've been doing, or just some background story. Because seriously, I get this, I open up a POB, I'm like, yes, nice build, dude. Okay, sorry. I had to do it right off the bat so people actually comment a paragraph. Hello, James. Let's get into the first build review. So he says, build review request. Nice. First time playing a Necro ever. He went SSF softcore. First time, okay. Started by following your league start and have done my own thing since. Still rocking skellies, zombies, 1 Carrion. Overall build does well on Awakened 8 T16 white maps, but when I start adding mods I die. It's a perfect build, especially with Trial Master encounters. I'd love to get ailment immune and more damage overall. If this was your character with the goal of getting to level 100, I don't want to die a lot, even if it's softcore SSF. What would you do next? Suggest. Thanks, Ethan. Everground, e.g. Necro. Let's pull it up. So we had this. So he's a zombie. 6-link zombie. And he uses an Empower too. I probably wouldn't do this. Or like I'd want it to be an Empower 4 for sure. 358,000 from 294. Highly recommend only using this if you had an Empower 4. And then this is better when you use it in a two-handed weapon that has +2 socketed support gems and +1 socketed gem. Because the +1 socketed gem will level this, and then the +2, so you can get extra levels on both. Like the +1 socketed gem levels this and the zombie, so it's actually 2 levels. And it was actually abuse of a weapon mods rather than the Empower 4. And so Empower's not that great, and you could just run Fortify instead. And then you have more damage. 367, and then they have Fortify, which is just 20% damage reduction from hits, which is pretty cool. They lost some life, but it was only 1 level anyways. Pretty much a 21-0 is just better anyways. Just go 21-0. Now you're at 405,000 DPS instead. Highly recommend corrupting for a 21 zombie. That's why I did that. It's really good. And then run Fortify instead of Empower. The next thing is I was looking at the skill tree, and he uses like a cluster, and it's pretty weird, and I don't think he uses the extra jewel socket, so this is just not good. And then he uses a 5, and he has to take 1 billion extra points for this one. He has a 1 passive medium. I'd highly recommend to get 2 mods on this. It's really easy if you're going to do this, and then you only have to spend 4 points of the 5 if you get another notable. But what you did is very questionable. Then the next thing is when you're using jewels, I noticed you put a hinder in the build. Your minions don't attack with spells, they're attack skills. So for example, skeleton attack, Carrion Golem attack, the zombie attack, no spell, so you can't hinder. So this jewel is literally 30 life, 89 armor. I'm just going to delete it. The next one, this is 29 life and 3 to 8 added physical damage. And then for fun, I like your life taunt and your life blind. I'd like if you could get a third mod on it, that's good, but this is fine. And then this is the fun part. So I added a jewel with perfect T1 phys, which is ridiculous, and 30 life. It adds 7,000 damage. Then I added a jewel with 30 life, 18 minion damage if you used a skill recently. Boom. 6,000 extra. So I highly recommend life and minion damage if you use a skill recently as your extra jewels instead of what you did. Because then it'll also synergize with your Enduring Bomb where you're using a minion skill recently, and you're probably Convocation because you're zombie build. Yep, Convocation, and you're casting shield charge and shit to automatically trigger the wand. You have a trigger wand, so it's triggering the flesh offering, spirit offering, the flesh offering, the desecrate, and whatever else is in the weapon. Vulnerability? No. You have vulnerability on the glove? Holy shit. Whoa, a synthesized glove with vulnerability. That's so cool. That's so fucking cool. Nice. So those were my first two things I noticed was the jewels could be improved and the actual link of your zombie could be improved. So now you pumped out like 50% more damage out of the same thing. Probably more life, and this isn't even getting into the other stuff. So then I noticed your Lionized Remorse and you're this, and so Lionized Remorse is for hardcore and for life. You could just use a second wand if you really wanted to. It's not that bad. It's pretty strong, right? It'd be pretty strong to use a second wand. Also, you're obviously SSF just like me, so you're gonna struggle with all the same shit. So what would I recommend? You wanted survivability. Okay, so I pointed out the fix to the zombie link because it was just a thing, and the fix to the jewels because it was just a thing. Now the next thing that I noticed is, dude, I love that you have 3 endurance charges. And then you're probably like, now how do I get more? And like more physical damage reduction, and that's where influence items come in, and the Aisling Slam. So for example, you can Aisling Slam a helmet for phys as fire, I believe, which that's really strong. So I'll show you here, helmet, and we scroll down to veiled, and then you can see 10% phys as fire, which has a 2,000 weighting, so it's not even that bad. There's technically also +1 zombie, which isn't even that bad. And so you could actually like accept this as a real thing you do in the build and look forward to is slamming an Aisling Slam on the helmet. And you also mentioned that you wanted 100% elemental ailment immune. For me, I did that through a craft on the helmet with avoiding ailment 25. A craft on the glove of a suffix, avoiding ailment 25. So they're both suffixes. The chest plate, I crafted a prefix with 30% chance to avoid ailment. And then I have the amulet anoint, where I anointed the arcane swiftness, which makes you need a shield, and then you have 100% avoid ailment. So this is another thing that I did to make using a shield better. And so then you want to up your physical. So phys taken as fire in the helmet. You can go for an influence chest plate. The one I went for specifically is for hunter, so I can get phys as chaos. It's technically actually better to do a different element, like phys as fire or phys as cold or phys as lightning, because we have Immortal Call, which reduces elemental damage and physical damage, but doesn't reduce chaos, so there's some anti-synergy there. And my chaos is only 75, and I'm raising up my elemental reses to higher, like 76, 77 through the barbarism and the Soul of Steel. So obviously you could be using Soul of Steel here too for increased armor. You have 6,000. It's not that low, right? If you ended up doing this instead, it takes you to 8,000 just off Soul of Steel. And you're next to this fat life wheel, but it's pretty costly, so it's fine. It's mostly, dude, it's this cluster. This cluster's so fucking weird looking. God damn. So weird. An 11 passive feasting rod and is so bad. And then at 1 point, a 1 notable medium cluster is so bad. Oh my god, I would not do that. You could just take this out, literally put the jewel in, take the other jewel for 2 points, and it's like better. It's easily better. And then you just run another jewel. And then the last thing, yeah, you could run one of the influence chest plates. If you end up making your own 6-link, you can do phys as cold on a redeemer chest plate. You could do phys as lightning with crusader chest plate. You could do phys as fire with elder chest plate. You could do phys as cold or lightning as shaper. And then you can also get +1 active skill gem for the zombie. These are all possibilities to increase. Oh, the reason why I say this is I looked at the build, and your 18,000, 50,000, 50,000, 11. So you want to cap your chaos res too, to have better defenses. Chaos is everywhere, and then this is kind of low. You could get it to 20 or more, and that would help a lot. And then going bone offering after instead of flesh offering and doing the recover on block shield is where you're going to get the ridiculous defenses, because you take this base max hit taken and you're basically multiplying it with block. It's a multiplier of how tanky you are because of how like you're blocking hits, and then so therefore your effective hit pool is higher. And yeep, that's the overall build review for this. I hope I helped, James. Thanks. Build review number 2. This build is crazy. So, Riael, hello. Here's a stone golem thing I shamelessly copied off of someone on Reddit. It's very cool, by the way. Other than getting one-shot by Kosis and Awakener 9 Cyrus, didn't try Maven yet. Everything has been smooth, farming towards Awakened Gems, which I assume will be a huge DPS increase. I'd also like to get a better pair of gloves I swap out of Breathstealer for bosses, and to maybe get another Harmony instead of the crappy Life and Chaos Res jewel I have, which I need, so I'm res cap versus bosses. The Boot Anoint was a tie between Blood Siphon, which was the biggest EHB increase sorted by POB versus everything other than Phys, and Aspect of the Stone. Decided to go with the former. I guess I could save a point by getting a Rotting Claws renewal, a third notable cluster, but other than that, not sure what else I could do to improve it. Hopefully your feedback will give me ideas. So this is a very unique build. I say that because it has a lot of uniques. So the ones that stand out to me, so this is a stone golem, elementalist, 95, pump it, has 7 of them with 900,000 per, 4,400 life, 15,000 armor, some physical damage reduction, and it's Sabakwa. And then it was running Brine King, Shakari. So I'm just going to say, let's say fuck Brine King, and you go Lunaris, so you get the physical damage reduction. You could also use Solaris to reduce the damage in Cyrus, like to get 6% physical damage reduction. But then you're wearing a brass dome, so this whole like not taking extra crits if you've taken a crit recently isn't that useful. And you're already ailment immune. So anyways, Lunaris looks pretty good, but I'll start with your Brine King for now. When I looked at the build, I saw 9,000 effective health against physical. And so when he says that he dies against Awakener 9 and Kosis, physical. The Chaos is fine, but it's the physical. And so then I looked with the Flask. He doesn't look that bad on the physical, 20k. But yeah, then he's going to be able to tank Cyrus, right? Without that, he's screwed. So what I see, he ran a Viridi's Veil to get hexproof, and damage of enemies hitting you is unlucky because he wore a magic ring. So then he had to wear a ring with no reses or anything, and it was just life, endurance, charge, to be able to get this to be hexproof. So now he's immune to curses, but this doesn't help him against Cyrus at all, or the Kosis, which was the 2 things that he said he had a problem with. Hexproof doesn't help, so this ring doesn't help, so this thing is weird. And then you're crit immune because of the brass dome. And then you wore a Breathstealer. I don't recommend this unless you're an aura stacker, because the spores are alive, and the spores are minions, and they can die, and they do die. They get attacked, they get area damage, and when you're an aura stacker, you can keep them alive more because you have auras protecting them. So I don't recommend Breathstealers unless you're an aura stacker. We also use it to be able to anoint extra mana reserve on the skill tree because it's so spread out, and it's like an extra mana reserve glove when you can't get mana reserve on a glove any other way. So that's why we did that. Stampede was because you're a Cyclone build. And now I'm going to throw it out there that what if instead of Cyclone, you did a normal like trigger, so you go like a +2 wand. You would go a wand, convoking, and you get your +2. And your extra whatever, you craft your extra stuff, and then you would craft trigger. And then the reason you then could just get your stuff to automatically get casted with trigger off of using an ability, and then you won't have to use you'd have to use like 2 of them, for example, but they'd have to obviously be better extra stats to beat the cooldown points. But then the idea would be that you wouldn't have to use Cyclone, so then you don't have to use Stampede, because I don't actually think Stampede is very good, and this isn't the best EHP boot you could possibly have. It may be the best EHP anoint, but yeah, also this only has 6 quality. You probably want to quality that up if you're still using it. Extra evasion, dude, pog. And then yeah, you don't really need this because half of it's useless. The cooldown recovery rate of travel skills while you're cycloning, and it doesn't have a cooldown. And then this is evasion and energy shield, but you're a life build. And this is for cyclone. And then I don't think you should be going Cyclone anyways. You don't have to. And then you can go trigger, and you can go like the wand and the automatically casting, and then you can go normal. Like you already have convocation, so you can already cast skills in the wand automatically. Highly recommend that. And then why doing all this? Well, it would free up a boot, free up a glove, free up a helmet, free up a ring, your wands, and now you'll be able to probably adjust the build to a spot where you want it. So extra life, extra phys taken as whatever, because your physical is the worst. So the same thing with the first build review. Phys conversion mods on the helmet, chest plate, etc. Really helpful. And then you can obviously res cap easier, life, tons more life. You'll like it all around. And then maybe change the amulet anoint to cleanse thoughts, because you can't get it otherwise, and just forget the ravenous horde for now, because the cleanse thoughts is actually not on the skill tree. And maybe what's this? Oh, nice, you actually selected what it was. Extra minion damage 13. Thanks. Cool. Thanks for the build. That's all. I'm not gonna adjust all the items and shit, I'm sorry, but I hope that helps, man. Nice build though. Nice yoink. And we're back with the third build review. Here we have Mind Freak. He says, "Hello, can you do a build review of my Stone Golem Elementalist account name?" Mind Freak. Here we go. I pulled up his Ultimatum character. He's a Necromancer, low life, 1.5 with 4 of them, 6 mil. EHP of physical poop and chaos poop, because his chaos is this, and his elemental's pretty strong, and that's his necro. I think he swapped off of Elementalist and went low life necro. He had no message, so nice build, man. It's all uniques. It's it's very squishy on the physical department and the chaos department, but it has great reses. And then nerfed because it's only 6% and 6%. So it's literally the same build as before, but it's just nerfed. So yeah, nice build, dude. And we're back with the fourth build review. So here we have Viz. He says, "Yo, Ethan, looking for powerful upgrades to offense and defense. Thanks for the amazing build review in the previous one," which he means 2 episodes ago. "The Saphals makes me lose a lot of DPS, and I've made changes you suggested earlier. I'm still getting one-shotted once in a while, but not sure why. I got 160 minion damage, 80 minion life, and an elegant tubers." Alright, let's pull up his build and explain why he gets one-shotted. So this is his thing. Slumlord, Axiom Warden, 2.7. So he's got like 10 million DPS, and he has 4 of these with 70,000 life each. When you look at his defenses, you say, damn, 80,000 physical. But wait, let me put in the big 15,000 enemy physical hit. He doesn't even have Fortify, actually. He doesn't have Fortify, so actually I should take that off. 12,000, 25,000, 18,000. That's what you're working with. You're really squishy. Now, I took your build and I just changed it. So, wait, let me explain. I mentioned in the last video that I didn't think that this was worth it, and you didn't listen, so strip the Elegant Hubris, and then the other thing was a Sapphire's Frame. And then I also mentioned going an Animate Guardian and not having a Profane Proxy in the build, which you mentioned getting... Like, you mentioned the Animate Guardian in the previous one, but then you didn't actually end up doing it. But I still recommend going Animate Guardian and dropping the Profane Proxy and automating the Curse, especially at this point since you have all Awakened Gems. You can afford an AG. Okay, so you won't need the vulnerability, and then you gain back the Skitterbot's chill effect, and you're using Awakened Unbound Ailments, so you were actually giving up the chill on your Skitterbots, which made Unbound Ailments even worse. Okay, so I just took this, and I adjusted it to this. What I did is I took out your Giant Elegant Hubris. I took Soul of Steel and Life. You have 5,200. Your reses are 80, 81, 79, because I also put in a Sapphire's. Your Sapphire's has 8% phys from hits, taken as chaos. Max spell block. When you actually look at this, now your survivability is 22k, 45k, 47, 30,000, and then the actual effective hit. So I could show again the comparison now. This is twice as tanky as your setup, 2 times tankier than your setup, and it only loses well, the Elegant Hubris, the damage, a little bit of damage, 1.2 million, which in the first POB, the original, you only had 600 or 700,000 DPS per, and you've doubled the damage of your old build while being more tanky. So I recommend this version with a Sapphire's Frame and maybe Soul of Steel for the armor and the Ellie res, the max res. It's pretty good. And I mentioned that the Elegant Hubris is mostly for minion life because you get 80 in a node. And that's insane, and it made a lot, like, it helps your defenses a lot for the minions. That one health node is pretty nice. So I ended up taking 1 point in this to get 1 extra regen and the 10% life. It's obviously not the same, but also you technically also have 2 points here because you don't need to take these 2 points for this extra zombie because you're a Carrion Golem build. And then again, I still recommend to run an Animate Guardian. Instead of the Profane Proxy, then you open up another ring, you get life, you get reses, you highly recommend switching the ring, and then you'll be even tankier. Hope this helps, Viz. And we're back with the 5th build review. Ian, hi, I think my comment got deleted because I posted a paste spin, I guess. So we tried again with just the normal way that I recommend. I guess I have some issues with one-shots only from bosses. And I think it's because I don't kill them fast enough. What would the next thing be to improve for my damage? I'm not running haste yet because I can't reserve it. Should I swap some auras for it? Thanks in advance. So I've pulled up his build. Let's take a look. He's got 3,200 ES, 2,600 evasion, 54 armor, 15% physical damage reduction, 87 reses, CI. It's mentioned here that he can run Grace. We shouldn't use Val Grace. He has Val Haste, but no haste. So he's actually looking at 941 armor with 12,000 evasion. And so when you actually look at it, he's running Divergent Determination. Divergent Determination is what's giving him some armor. It's you and nearby allies gain 2% of evasion as extra armor. So off of this and the Grace, he's getting 941 armor. And then that's like heavily nerfed. Grace, yep. Okay, so then he's a Necro, and then this is his skill tree. So he's an Aura Stacker Necro, and he's using the weird medium clusters where you do 6, but then he doesn't increase the effect of the small passives, but he's taking 6, and then he's still using also the nerfed First Among Equals and Replenishing Presence. And so let's just look at the real thing. So he's got big fucking damage, right? Obviously. 28 million, but this is his effective hit. It's not even against a big physical hit because he doesn't have any armor. So let's put it against a big physical hit. He's looking at 7k. That's with bone armor up. And then 41, and then imp. So this is squishier. This is so squishy. Now I want to show this. This is my changes, okay? I mentioned a bunch of shit. Here we go. This is my change to his tree. The first thing is, let's go back to his for a sec. In his Carrion Golems, he doesn't use Impale support. Instead, he uses 4 points on these large clusters for Rotting Claws. So for example, 4 points is the diff with Impale support 2020. And then he has 4 extra points. But that's assuming with damage on full life that your minions are on full life all the time. Yeah, so that's the first thing I noticed was he preferred 2 Rotting Claws over Impale support. I highly recommend Impale support and don't use damage on full life. And then the next one is change to the skill tree. So let's go. I also changed him to a Scion Ascendant. So we lost Righteous Army. We lost the Jewel Socket. We lose this pathing in the middle because we're no longer a witch. And we come out of the Scion. And then I also changed it to attack speed instead of spell damage. Because if you do use a skill with attack, then you can get the attack speed from here. And then you come out of Scion. And you actually get 5 extra skill points for being a Scion Ascendant. And then I changed your medium clusters to 4 points instead of 6. So you spend less on each medium. And I took out your Rotting Claws because I just made you run Impale. And then if you look, I take all those extra points. And I ran it down this way. So open Jewel Socket, 2 more Jewel Sockets, and I took this. So Iron Reflexes is really interesting because you have, with Grace in this build and this setup, you get to 20,000 evasion, but you only have 1,600 armor. And so we figured out that people made this meta skill tree with Iron Reflexes for this setup, and then you get 38,000 armor. I showed this in my last in my last build review. The title was like 20 million DPS with 33,000 armor, and so now 38,000 armor, and your physical damage reduction's at 46. And so against a big physical hit, this is as a Scion Ascendant. It's pretty cool how it works. 38,000 armor, and then 25. So it says it's squishier, but then you could technically be running an offering that affects you. And I would also recommend running more actual auras. Like, I don't think Flesh and Stone counts as an aura, and I don't think Pride counts for you as an aura. It works for the enemy for the big damage, but technically more auras on you to increase the effect of the Guardian Ascendancy. And then I also, 3 more jewel sockets. So I show what you could put here. I made 3. The first one is ES, minion damage, and blind. So the blind is like 50, like if the enemy is blinded, it makes a big diff. Is the enemy blinded? Right? It actually helps in the defenses. And then the next one you can add is taunt. And taunt reduces the enemy's damage by 50% when they're attacking a non-taunted enemy. Like, if you don't taunt them, but your minions taunt them, they actually deal less damage. It doesn't show in POB, but it's a real thing. They deal less damage to the people who don't taunt them. And then you can go ES, minion damage, and phys. I just showed this extra to show how much damage it would add. So you could get back to 4.9 million. And then you have the 38,000 armor, and you have the higher physical damage reduction. And then it's a Scion Ascendant, so you can actually scale it. Like you now have the Scion Ascendant version, where also the other benefit is as a Guardian, your Guardian aura for physical damage reduction actually is given to the minions as well. And then you also have Onslaught, so your minions have Onslaught in this. When you have 5 nearby allies, you gain Onslaught. So now your minions actually have Onslaught too. It's really cool. Wait, that wasn't ticked. Okay. And overall, I'd say that this swap gets you big fat physical damage reduction, big fat armor, and could potentially be better. And then obviously then you're a Scion Ascendant, and you could scale this with ridiculous stuff. And it might be worth more to invest in this because of a more well-rounded version. And then you could go like the wands and shit for the overall levels instead of just levels to physical gems, so that your things like specters and the zombies actually live more. Extra level on them also really helps for their survivability if that was an issue. But I think the biggest things to focus on was the impale support, damage on full life thing, instead of the rotting claws. I'm telling you, is going to feel a lot better. And then pointing out how if you're doing the grace determination thing, the iron reflexes is natural and just kind of, and then you need the extra points from the Scion Ascendant to make this work. It's possible to do this without it, but it's a lot worse. And then it's also kind of neat that you get the free physical damage reduction from the Guardian, which is more than a Necro, but obviously you then deal less damage. But I think this should feel pretty good. And then if you have survivability issues on minions, it's Indom Army for the physical damage reduction and the physical damage reduction, anti-bleeding, or Grave Intentions for the chaos res potentially. It's very close. You're also close to avoiding elemental ailments right here. You have access to so much shit with this skill tree because you're everywhere. Thanks for the build. And it's time for the final build review. Alright, Sammy, you got the Stone Golem Elementalist. Need to finalize min-maxing the build. Looking for more health. Should I try to get Fettle small clusters? Sitting at 9.5 slam DPS. I know I should probably switch out Flash since I'm already at 90 phys reduction. Is it better to transition into Carrion since it seems that the Stone Golem DPS is hitting a ceiling? Let's start first with the physical damage reduction. I have 90. I'm good. I don't need Flask, but that tooltip is based on a hit of 0. You have 21,000 armor. Did you know if you get hit for 15,000, your armor's poop, and you have 42 physical damage reduction? But Ethan, I have 90. No, you have 42. Okay, so then your hit is 15,513, so you would almost get one-shotted by a 15,000 physical hit. Your elementals are 37, 39, and then 35 for chaos. Looks pretty good. Physical could use some work, so you have those 2 endurance charges. Let's make sure it's being calculated in there. We could also do the extra shit for mapping. You could run Lunaris for the extra 8% because of 8 nearby enemies. You know, you could do Gruthkul getting hit a lot, getting 5 extra physical damage reduction. Then you're looking at 19,994 just off 2 Pantheons. You've raised your physical damage reduction by like 30%. It's pretty sick. And your elemental went up because you're dodging. And then, so this is pretty cool. But yeah, you wanted more life, and you wanted to understand the physical damage reduction. So I keep the flask because you aren't at 90, and then you wanted life, and so I noticed that you have this jewel. It's 15 strength, 103 to armor, and then minion damage. So you could get life here, like a minion life and minion damage. And then I also noticed, I was praying that you had this in your build because I wanted to call it out and then fix it. So you put a ghastly jewel with taunt, but stone golems have a taunting slam. It's in their description. It's like one of the main cool things about them is that they have a powerful slam that can taunt enemies. So they have the built-in regen, the roll, and then the taunt. So like how zombies can't miss with the slam, these taunt all the time. So you actually don't need the taunt jewel. So then you could run, I'll just show you. And then like this Fortress Covenant could also be replaced in theory. But let's just make a new jewel. That's really simple. Jewel, Abyss, Ghastly. And we'll just start it off with a minions deal damage. If you used a skill recently. And then life. And then we'll copy this one and paste it. And then we'll add blind. You'll get blind in the build as one of the things. So we'll start with that one. And then we'll just add the other two as is, life and minion damage if you used a minion skill recently. And then 1.7, so it's similar damage, but then you're pumping out more life this time, which is pretty cool, and then it actually works better. And then you have here, oh, you already had a blind. Life, all res, phys, minion, all res. Pretty cool. Alright. That works, man. And then, yeah, you got specters. Yup, perfect. 21. You kind of want a 21 animate guardian to help keep it alive in case. Would help. And you do flesh offering and all that, but honestly, the Pantheons would help you a lot. The changing the ghastly jewels, maybe getting another large cluster. That's insane. Pretty tough though. You could add fortify to the build. Try to get fortify. Should you switch, I think that you could go primordial chain and go the full golem route, where you don't have to worry about scaling specters and all these other minions. You could just go the stone golem route with the primordial chain, episode 750. Also, I noticed that this is +1 intelligence skill gems, so this actually doesn't buff your stone golems, so it's a really weird ammy to have. Normally the +1 intelligence works because we have a Carrion golem, it's a blue gem, and then we have blue gem Ray Spectre, blue gem zombie. They're all blue, so they get levels. Here, you're giving a level to the Chaos Golem, which takes it to 21, which doesn't even help. So, another small thing... Well, this is actually gigantic now that I noticed that you don't have it. I thought it was already a thing. So, in this build, it's very important to get the Chaos Golem to level 22. Chaos Golem, so just one extra level, gets it to 22, and it gets 1% extra physical damage reduction. So, instead of giving 4, it gives 5. In this build, you scale it times 5. You have like 500 golem buff effect. So instead of 1% physical damage reduction, it's 5. And then so that takes your damage reduction for physical up to 22,000 from 15,000 where we started. So that's absolutely insane just off getting one level on a Chaos Golem because of this weird ammy you have in the build, which really, the way you would get the levels normally is using wands with +2 minion damage, attack speed, and trigger. That'll be your source of the global +2 levels, and then it gives it to all your minions and spells instead of just the physical. And then you could also run a Sapphire's Frame eventually when you have enough DPS with adding all the Awaken gems and all that great stuff like Awaken Multi, and then you go for perfect clusters and you level up your gems and you have everything set up well. Then you can go Sapphire's and be even tankier to elemental reses and chaos res without even having to go Zabakwa. Well, thank you for submitting the build. Hope this helps. Recommend keeping your flask. Was there anything else he mentioned? You could transition to Carrions if you wanted, but you could also transition to Primordial Chain instead of this version, and that's also good. And then you would get higher physical damage reduction because you would gain golems also with Primordial Chain, and then you could go more like Primordial Bonds and do all that golem buff stacking that I recommended in episode 750. And then for more life, I don't think you need Fetals. I don't like going small clusters because you have to give up a jewel socket for a small cluster. The most I would do is larges and mediums, but I don't go smalls because you lose a jewel socket, especially in a build where you're kind of jewel starved. And then yeah, technically you already had blind, so that extra blind I added, you don't really need it. Hinder only works on the Chaos Golem. This kind of works. You can do this, but it's not going to work very often, because if you look at the Chaos Golem, its spell is a 2-second cooldown. It doesn't have spell echo, so you're assuming that it's going to hit once every 2 seconds, which is half every second. And where'd it go? I didn't even notice this originally. This hinder is 8%. So if you did the math, 100% to get them always hindered. But it's also for... Is it 4 seconds? It doesn't say. Let's say it's 4 seconds. So let's say we can divide the 100 by 4. So it's you only need to have 25%. We have 8, and we only attack half a time every second. So it's a yikes, dude. There's no way you're permanently hindering with this build. The hinder works better in like a spell build or the full Chaos Golem build. I might have recommended that, but it doesn't work that well. I don't remember, to be honest. But then this could just be another one of these. Life and damage instead of hinder, and then that's good, and you get even more damage and more life, and yeah, thanks for the build. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out. It was extra long episode. Put a lot of effort into each build and build review. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope people could learn something. I'm late, it's fine, but thank you guys for watching, and we're trying to hit 100,000 subs on YouTube. We're going for it, so thank you to anyone who joins today and comes on this journey with me, and I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon and my YouTube members who financially support the channel. I can't do this without you guys, so thank you guys for all the support, and thank you to anyone new who joins the Patreon and the YouTube members today, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!